The sun filtered through the high windows of the courtroom, casting long, steady shadows across the polished mahogany benches. It was a place where the chaotic threads of human lives were brought to be untangled by the firm hand of justice. Within these walls, the air always seemed a bit heavier, thick with the scent of old paper and the solemnity of the law. Kevin, the bailiff, stood with a practiced, upright posture, his presence a silent anchor in the room. He took a deep breath before announcing the beginning of the session. The words echoed clearly, calling the court to order. Everyone rose in a unified motion, a collective gesture of respect for the institution that presided over their disputes. Judge Judy entered with a brisk, purposeful stride, her black robe billowing slightly behind her. She took her seat behind the elevated bench and looked down at the documents for case number 3015, Perez versus Bowen. Her eyes, sharp and full of wisdom gathered over decades, scanned the two individuals standing at the podiums. Stephanie Perez appeared nervous but resolute, while Matthew Bowen stood with a weary expression, the weight of his own complications visible in the slump of his shoulders. "How are you, Kevin?" the judge asked, her voice a familiar blend of authority and efficiency. She did not wait for a long reply before diving straight into the heart of the matter. "Welcome," she said, looking toward Stephanie. "This is an interesting beginning, Ms. Perez. You met Mr. Bowen at a truck stop. Tell me when that was and how it all started." Stephanie cleared her throat, her hands resting lightly on the wood of the podium. "It was in January. She began, and we both worked there. It was a place of constant movement, a crossroads for people traveling across the country. But for us, it became a place of connection." Judge Judy narrowed her eyes slightly to clarify the timeline. "January of last year, 2022? She asked. Stephanie confirmed that it was indeed that year. The story unfolded from there. What started as professional acquaintance soon blossomed into a romantic relationship. Within a short time, Stephanie had moved into Matthew's home. She explained that she was not just there for herself. She was there to help with his children. Even though she maintained her own house, she spent every day of those 2 months at his place, providing the kind of care and stability that his family desperately needed. The judge noted that Matthew had full-time physical custody of his 2 children since 2020. They were just infants when he became their primary protector. It was a significant responsibility for any man, especially one working long hours at a truck stop. Stephanie had stepped into that world, becoming a part of their daily lives. However, the peace was temporary. The biological mothers of the children, who had been absent for some time, suddenly reappeared and sought to take custody back. This created a legal crisis. Matthew needed an attorney to fight for his right to keep his children, and he needed one quickly. According to the complaint, Stephanie loaned Matthew $2,000 to cover the attorney fees. She believed in him and believed in the well-being of the children. But as is often the case in the complex dance of human relationships, things did not work out between them. The parting was not amicable. It was a painful separation that left both parties feeling aggrieved. Stephanie wanted her $2,000 back, while Matthew felt he had been wronged in a different way. Matthew had filed a counterclaim, alleging that Stephanie had acted out of a desire for vengeance. He claimed that she had sent a video of him involved in a workplace altercation to his employer, which led to his firing. Furthermore, he accused her of aligning herself with the mothers of his children to undermine his custody, even sharing photographs of him with a ball-bearing gun to make him look dangerous. "Mr. Bowen," Judge Judy said, her voice steady, "tell me the circumstances surrounding her giving you $2,000. Matthew explained that in June of 2022, he was facing an ex parte order from one of the mothers. Stephanie had initially offered $7,000 for a high-profile attorney her mother had used, but Matthew thought that was too much. They looked for someone more local and found a lawyer in Lancaster who charged $3,500. Matthew went to the office alone, got the quote, and returned home to discuss it with Stephanie. At the time, Stephanie was staying with him because her own children were away for the summer. She was caring for his kids, and he was not paying her for that help. "I want to hear where the $2,000 came from," the judge prompted. Matthew struggled to recall the exact words, but Stephanie remembered clearly. She had been off work and used her savings to help him. "I told him that I would need help when my bills came due, she explained. "I told him he would have to help me with my mortgage, my electric, and my gas. He agreed to that, and so I wired the money bank to bank." As the testimony continued, the judge examined text messages sent between the two. In those messages, Matthew acknowledged the debt. He spoke of big bills coming in and promised to try to get some money to her. He did not deny that he owed her. He only lacked the means to pay it all back at once. He admitted to have only paid back about $100 so far. The judge then turned her attention to the counterclaim. Matthew described an incident at Love's truck stop where he worked as a cashier. He had seen a person attempting to steal a party speaker worth $400 when his co-workers failed to respond to his calls for help. Matthew took it upon himself to stop the thief. Outside the store, he swatted the speaker out of the man's hand, and the man attacked him. Matthew insisted he was defending himself, claiming the man had an 8-inch knife. Judge Judy watched the video of the fight, which had been recorded by a random trucker. She saw the adrenaline and the chaos of the moment. "If I owned the truck stop," she said, "I would give you a gold star and make you Employee of the Month for protecting the property." However, the legal question was not about Matthew's bravery, but about who sent the video to his employer. Matthew claimed it was Stephanie, but he had no proof. His witness had failed to appear, leaving him with nothing but suspicion. Stephanie denied ever sending the video to his corporate office or to the mothers of his children. She pointed out that Matthew himself had sent the video to many people. Without proof, the counterclaim was dismissed. The judge ruled that Matthew still owed Stephanie the balance of the loan, which was $1,900. Judgment for the plaintiff. The judge declared, and the court was adjourned. After the session, the atmosphere in the room softened. Judge Judy spoke with Sarah about the modern phenomenon of the phone's first approach to life, where people choose to record a conflict rather than help. They discussed the importance of consequences in society. The judge reflected on her time in family court, noting that children and adults alike need to understand that there are rules to be followed. If there are no consequences for actions, the fabric of society begins to unravel. Stephanie walked out of the courtroom feeling a sense of relief. She was a single mother who did not have money to throw away, and the court had validated her claim. Matthew left with a lesson about the importance of evidence and the complexity of relationships. In the end, the case served as a reminder that while emotions may be messy, the law seeks to find a clear path through the fog, aiming for a resolution that is fair and just. It was a small victory for accountability and a testament to the fact that every story, no matter how small, deserves to be heard with fair and impartial ear.